Hi, vinyl community. Well, it has been about a month, I think, since I made a video. Well, in fact, maybe a bit longer. But these are my Finland finds from my summer holiday there and to see my wife's family. Yeah, a few interesting things happened there. Met up with a couple of people, one in the VC. First thing I did when we arrived, I went, or rather, we went to see my wife's parents, and I went to a kirpputori, which is a like a sort of a indoor market where individual sellers pay for a stall, and then um, some have records. Maybe a lot of them have like clothes and things like that sort of thing. So I found in there, where I go to every summer now, it seems, 3 records, fairly reasonably priced. We've got a nice copy of the Prince album, Around the World in, I can't remember what it's called now. How embarrassing. Around the World in a Day. Yeah, Around the World in a Day, with the sort of the Obi fold out thing here. I'm still not really that into Prince, but I'm gonna keep trying to like him. I know his early stuff was good, sort of quite funky. I know the hits, but as to actually liking albums, it's never really clicked for me. So I mean, it's a great cover, very interesting. He was certainly an interesting sort of person. Yeah, I don't know, just I don't know. Anyway, right, a blast from the past here, and John Bellamy will. Hi, John. Will know about this band. It Bites. I remember this being out at the time, and maybe I think I got it out of a library or something on cassette. Still too young to remember. I remember that as a single, so I thought I would give this a go. It's quite a sort of a cool cover. Yeah, It Bites, very famous for in England for calling all the heroes as a sort of like big hit. That was €4. Prince was 5, and this was 5 as well. Some sort of Eberhard Schöner, some sort of German, I think, sort of guy. I haven't looked him up or done any research about him, but I just sort of find these albums that look very interesting. They're often sort of electronic or ambient, I suppose you could say. So I thought I would try that as well. So next, I went to Jyväskylä, which is a city in the middle of Finland, surrounded by lots of lovely lakes. And I met up with somebody who we all know from the Vinyl Corner. That was Mikko. And it was very brief. It was only like about an hour we could catch up, because I was just like visiting there for something else really. And he'd just finished work. But that's the first member of the VC I think I've actually met. It was good. I could practice my Finnish with him, which is a little rusty. But we went in his local record shop, which he would, I suppose, say is I'm sure they order things for him and stuff. But well, I suppose I've had a bit of a gripe lately with and a moan about paying full price or records that are overpriced, and a lot of record shops are like that, and they often seem to be. Well, last week I went somewhere and the owners were just, a bit grumpy, and well, I suppose people were running a business. So instead of going in there, we directly went to a couple of thrift stores, or these sort of shops where you have a mixture of maybe comics, videos, DVDs, that sort of thing, records, CDs, I don't know, maybe other sort of bits and bobs. So we went there, we were flicking through the records at the same time, having the conversation at the same time, which is like really cool. But unfortunately, I only sort of had about an hour. Otherwise, I'm sure we would have gone to have at least had a beer. Maybe we've got something to eat. So maybe next time we go. So I will have to hold you to that. So I took him some VCLT. And then he secretly found some records for me, basically, while I was still sort of pottering around. So he found some Finnish albums for me, a Finnish sort of hit album. With some people on there who I've sort of heard of. This dude sitting here. Eve or Eve. Now I can't remember the band that this bass player was in now. No, it's gone. So it will give you a chance to comment, Nico, the band that this guy was in. Finnish band called Boycott. It was sort of irrelevant, really, like buying records, just meeting up with somebody like that in a way, you know, just a really cool thing to do. And yeah, here's another one, Marit, which is one of his favourites, I think, sort of pop, Finnish pop music. Yeah, so yeah, that was great, you know, just to meet up with him and yeah, just chat about stuff, I suppose. So after that, I went to Helsinki, and there's lots of record shops in Helsinki, maybe like 20, I would have thought, like that would be worth going to. But there's just not the time to traipse around, although Helsinki is a very small city. Just around the corner from where I used to live is this record shop, which wasn't there when I lived there. Now, yeah, they were sort of, I wouldn't say they were over expensive, but I don't know, I just enjoy a bit more of a hunt rather than just going to a record shop and everything's sort of in order and they're all nicely laid out. And one annoying thing is when they're all packed too tightly. It might seem like a good idea to have them all like that and nicely, you know, in their PVC coverings or sleeves or whatever. But in reality, it's quite frustrating, really. In fact, it's even more annoying than actually having to get on the floor and get your hands dirty, which maybe is a bit more, you know. So I went to this place here, anyway, Rolling Records. Just spat on the screen there a bit. So we've got here a shop that has been open very recently, and a lot of shops in Helsinki recently have opened, maybe more for hipsters, maybe more for, you know, sort of records that are all there ready for you to buy. Anyway, I found 10 albums after much deliberations for €15. So I will show you what I got. A Finnish album here, Katri Helena. I think it's sort of like a greatest hits of her earlier things. I've got another Finnish album. I've no idea what this is. Tangorilla, I suppose you would say that. I don't know, but when you're looking for 10, you know, in an offer, yeah, it can be quite difficult sometimes. A Russian album, you find loads of Russian and Eastern European albums on the Melodia label. Now, this lady will appear again later in my video. Now, what was her name? Her name is Alla Pugacheva, The Mirror of the Soul. I don't know what it's going to be like. Jackie Wilson. Maybe not the cool 60s original album, but nevertheless, I'm quite happy with that, to have some of his stuff on an album. Tracy Chapman. I've had this before. It always seems to go missing. I don't know why. Either have sold it or lent it to somebody, but that must prove something, that it's pretty popular and people don't want to give it back. Here we have, I've never really seen this before, but I'm sure people will know it. The BEF, so that's, is it the guys from Heaven 17? And there's lots of people doing cover versions on it of famous songs. I've never seen this before. Well, I don't remember seeing it anyway. A couple of sort of random religious Christian albums here. This one, I've seen this one in Finland a lot. And this one, sort of, band must be called Revelation, I think. I'm just digging that picture on the back there. Look at those guys. Here we go. Where are they now? I don't suppose that guy still has those shoes. Is this a Charisma compilation? Yeah, Charisma compilation. Which often you see sort of priced at, you know, €8, £10 or something, when, you know, you're going to get a copy. Why not look in the sale bin? And then I had this guy's album, Terence Trent D'Arby's first album, and it's really good. Now this one he brought out and it completely flopped, and I've never heard it. It's from about '89, I think. Yeah, I don't think it had any hit singles on it or anything. But this will be interesting to hear. You could almost say he's a little bit like a British version of Prince, perhaps. Yeah. So after that, I was still very hungry for vinyl, and I met up with a guy. I actually thought he was going to be a Finn, but I've been friends with a little bit, or posting things on a vinyl sort of closed group community on Facebook for, I don't know, a few years. I think maybe I knew another guy in it, and then I got invited to go into it. And they're always sort of just posting the right amount of stuff that you can digest. And yes, I met him, and it turned out he was actually English, which that was still cool. You know, he lives there. I didn't really go to anywhere that different, but it was just good to meet up with somebody else, and, you know, talk about different types of music, bounce off ideas, help each other out where you didn't know, you know, what was what. Yeah, just sharing that sort of knowledge, I suppose, that we all sort of crave for sometimes. So, first place we went to was called VCKumba or Kolmia. It's like, it actually translates as like 5 corners, and here there's like maybe half a dozen record shops in a very small sort of space in this 5-cornered sort of road junction where they all meet. And let me see, what did I get? I got this album for €2, sorry, which I know nothing about. Apparently they're English. It's a bit proggy. Happy the Man from 1977. Then he recommended this, which he has already. La Bionda. To be honest, it sort of sounds a little bit like a more disco, fashionable, mixed Boney M or something like that sort of thing. Certainly from the same period of time, but it's good. I like it. It was €3. I found this myself, an album with Santana on it and some jazz sort of people. This was 10. euros. I don't think you can see that, but it's let's see what it's actually called. It's by somebody called Louis Gasca. Has 3 tracks on it. It's from, I don't know, was it 1970 or something, I think? But I don't know, just sort of seeking something a bit different. Yeah, a bit more chilled, a bit more jazzy. So I was quite happy with that, even paying €10 for it. I can't get it back in for now. Never mind. Right. This one, a new Finnish album by a sort of oh, they look like such hipsters, but it's very sort of slightly twee, but let me see, sort of slightly 60s tinged pop folk music. It was very easy to listen to. It's, how do you say that? Kopparinlinna. So that is Copper Castle. And this was actually a trade with the guy in this record shop. I will show you the sign. Now this is a record shop that I would, if you ever went to Helsinki, I would recommend. It's the best record shop to go to. And I had a chat with the guy that runs it, which was very interesting, very eye-opening about how he thinks a record shop should be run. Without going into too much detail, I would say I would agree with him. So it's called Red Hill Records. Now he would probably have said he didn't agree with advertising, so I'm advertising his record shop here now. But yeah, and he has a huge knowledge on music and a lot of knowledge as well about sort of all these Russian albums, and I think also has learnt that language a little bit and some Japanese and Chinese and things just to find out what it is you're actually getting, so that you rather get something interesting like this rather than your Tchaikovsky album. So this is the album that I think Anna Puchova is on. It's a band called Alla Pucheva and Recital Group, led by Aleksandr Newdog. So if you ever see this, get it. This cost me a couple of euros because it was not in such good condition as some of the other ones he had, the same record. So it's actually described as somewhere soul funk, I think, but in a Russian way. So yeah, this must have been big in Russia at the time or something. Sorry, Soviet Union. Yeah. How disturbing is this way? And lastly, an album that I didn't mind paying €12 for. This is a Christian album or a religious album, and it's a guy that's blind, I think, actually, but actually it's so good, so soul-y, so sort of like deep, I suppose you could say. And yeah, I've never heard of him. I don't know anything about him. The first track on the first side just sounds like, not wanting to offend anyone, but he's making love in the right way. I mean, to God. You know, he's like not quite Barry White exactly, but yeah, it's just really good, and sort of that sort of sound that you don't really get anymore on albums. So yeah, I would recommend this shop very much. I don't know if they sell online. They might do. you could certainly check it or email him. So that was the end of my holiday. So apart from losing a suitcase and finding it on the way there, and then coming back to the wrong airport, and then landing at the right airport, that's another story. It was a good holiday. I found some records, met a couple of good guys, and I will have so many other things to talk about actually now. Now I've got my, the ball between the horns, as it were. I will post again hopefully soon. So I hope everybody's doing well. And thanks Miko for meeting up. Even though it was a very short sort of time. And catch everybody soon, and I will keep watching your videos. Cheers. Bye.